Hey everybody, welcome back to Eat and Talk. Today I have a very special guest and I'm really excited for this episode. Let's all welcome Anita.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Here at Eat and Talk, we love to highlight different individuals here in Minnesota that are making some sort of impact or come from different backgrounds. So I am super honored to have met you. I think, was it the summer of last year? We met over the summer. We were connected through a mutual friend. And I just love hearing about her work and it's very inspirational. So I'm really glad that we get to share your story today. Anita, I'll let her explain like her title and her background. But she is the Director of Culture. People of Culture for the Minnesota Vikings, which is super huge and exciting. Welcome, Anita.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here. And I'm excited about this. Like we've talked about this for a while. So having finally getting to sit down and chit chat is great. So looking forward to our discussion.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about, like how you came into this role and what does that mean? What does it mean being the Director of People of Culture?
Yeah. So again, it's just one of those things where you see your job, right? Yeah. And mind you, football wasn't my niche. So, I'm African, I'm from Ghana.
Yay,
so we're all about the soccer.
Yeah.
So that was where my passion, and my son plays soccer. So that is what I watch a lot. But then I saw this posting on Indeed. I was like, I have the skills to do this, right? And it would be cool to just go into a different industry that I have no idea about. So that is, as they say now, I did shoot my shot and I got it. And, just going through the process, learning about the organization and how much impact or what I also bring to the team. So that motivated me to apply and, went through the process and got the job. So that's how I ended up with Minnesota Vikings.
That's so amazing. And I was just like, and I always tell you this off camera, but I'm so happy that they selected someone of color and especially a woman, a Black woman, an African woman for this position, because as we know, like in corporate America, it can be very frustrating when there's these diverse roles that's meant to serve a community and it's not someone very diverse. So shout out to the Minnesota Vikings for having a very wise decision for choosing you. Exactly. So kind of let's talk a little bit about that, because the first thing that comes to mind when we hear the Vikings is just straight like football.
Yes.
And so like you said, like, your background was not in football, you weren't familiar with it, but you shot your shot. And so tell us a little bit what like the corporate world is like in the industry of sports and what the positions are out there, and why it's important to really know about these things.
Yeah. So on a normal, on the face, you think the players on the field, right? So when you think about, some people think about football, that is not, but again, when you pull the curtains, it is a whole crazy machine running in the back scene. So again, we have HR, we have legal, we have finance and accounting. We have partnership, we have sales. So we have IT. There are so many opportunities in sports that sometimes when you don't think about it and you think, oh, I have to be, I have to love football, I have to play the game. There are so many opportunities for people to get in sports, right? Again, how many people get into the NFL?
Right.
Not a whole lot. So even if you play the sports, but don't make it into the NFL, you can still have that adjacent to the sport by, tapping into whatever your skill is. Because there are so many other ways that you can still work in sports and not play the game. So that is what I found intriguing. Like I said, I wasn't too familiar with the whole, the football landscape and all the other roles that went into it. So once I walked into a building, I was like, whoa, right? The magnitude of, again, the building itself, but again, what goes on in the back scenes before the players hit the field was very interesting. And it's something that I continue to learn every day because, again, I'm new to the industry. This is my very first sports gig, so I've never worked with any sporting organization before. So this is also a new process and learning experience for me.
Yeah. So speaking about that, Anita, what were you doing before you joined the Vikings?
Sure. I worked at Optum, so that is part of United Health. And I also did HR in that space. So for me, most of my background has been in HR. And I always try to challenge myself, go into a different industry each time I change a role, because I love to learn, right? And I love to stretch myself. So again, new industry, now I have a long runway to learn that particular industry and learn, all the rules and stuff that goes or pertains to that industry. So every time I change a job, I try to find a different niche to expand my horizon and also my knowledge in various industries, just keeping me on my toes and getting me well balanced.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how long have you been in this current position now?
So I've been there since 2021. So I would say I'm in my third season this year. So really excited.
Yeah. And is this like an ongoing, so even when it's like, for example, like right now, we're not in season, football is over. Is it still like work being done right now? And like, what do you guys prepare for when football isn't going on?
Sure. So, and that is a great question. That's a question that I get a lot. It's like, well, football is over, so are you truly busy? Yes. So for the HR side, this is our busy time, right? End of year, performance reviews, budget. So we are very busy, right? That's when I tell people I'm busy. It's like, but nobody's playing football, right? So, but we deal with the employee part of it. So when the team is done, the players are gone, you still have employees there to do the work. And those are my core, I would say my clients that I deal with are the staff that runs everything. So we have staff in the building every day. And while we have staff in the building, that keeps me busy. And year round, we are operating. So though the season is died down, now those departments that are busy in season, they're now in the planning stages for the season. So there's always work to be done, and it never slows down.
Yeah. And I kind of saw that Anita was kind enough to like invite me to the facility. So I did see people were working there for sure.
Yes.
So lots are going on. So tell us a little bit about, during the springtime is I think when the training starts and the training camps. What is like that recruitment process like?
Yeah, so in the summer, so right now we've posted for our training camp roles. So we're starting to recruit that. And for the training camp, right, it's anyone 18 or over can apply to that. So mostly we look at, high school graduates and those in college, or sometimes maybe graduate from college. And it's an opportunity. Sometimes if you don't know if you want to be in sports, that is a way to dip your toe in there to just have a feel, because it's such a short window, right? So you are not committing to a long-term role. So it's dipping your toe in there, and it's a grind because you're out there in the heat, making sure that, the fans coming in are having a great experience. The kids coming in are also being engaged. So I would encourage anyone, we have those job postings open now, and just, again, apply for that, dip your toe and see if that is what you want to do. Because though they're working training camp, the managers do a very good job that they incorporate various activities. So at the end of camp, they invite, full-time staff to come in and talk about what they do. So it's not just coming in, do training camp, and you're done. We create different opportunities for the training camp staff to connect with the full-time staff in the building. And that is another way to, one, build your network, get to know people. So then at the right time, when there's other opportunities open, you have that network built.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I love it. Also, I know that as an organization, you guys also love being involved with the community. Can you talk about what are some of the ways that as an organization you guys kind of, connect with the community?
Yeah. One thing I truly, truly love is, as employees, we get hours that we can go out and volunteer. So Tuesdays are mostly when people go out, but there are so many other opportunities that as an employee you can take time off paid to volunteer within the community. So many different opportunities that everyone, we are not limited to where we can volunteer. whatever the employees we're passionate about, we get to spend our time in those spaces. So that is one thing that I truly value about this organization and the impact that they allow us to go into the community to make a difference.
Yeah, I love that. So like you, just as a phenomenal, amazing woman, what are like some obstacles that you feel like you faced throughout like your career, and how you were able to kind of like overcome those struggles?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, again, when you have kids, right, that challenge and that balance, but you have to give yourself grace. And that is something that I've continued to work on. It's like, it's okay. You're not going to get everything perfect, right? There are kids doing stuff. You have to run to these activities, and it is okay if you don't get everything at work done, right? Just prioritizing and not feel guilty about that. That has been something that over the years I have, grown into myself and value that piece. And also being a strong individual and also being able to speak your mind, right? Again, as a Black woman, sometimes you get intimidated, you overanalyze, like, how am I coming across? But again, with years, with experience, you learn how to stand up for yourself and speak up for yourself, right? So you don't have to worry about being labeled or anything. You just have to make sure that you are communicating your feelings accurately to make sure that, again, people hear you and people understand where you're coming from. So those are things that over the years I've seen myself get better at. Yeah,
and I love that so much. And you're absolutely right. I want to kind of touch base about when you said about not feeling guilty. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, because sometimes, again, as a parent, not feeling guilty about maybe not being able to go to some of the kids' activities. Right. Or sometimes you have to leave work early to go to the kids' activity, right? So it's just that right balance.
Yep.
And also, again, as a Black woman in the workforce, right? Unfortunately, there are some stereotypes, but then you don't have to feed into that piece. When you are strong in what you're saying and you know what you're saying has value and you're right about what you're saying, right? You don't need to apologize for that. Speak your truth and stand on your truth. And that took me a while to, get there. But now I am confident when I'm speaking my truth, knowing that what I'm speaking is right. Yeah. So again, I don't feel intimidated in certain space because when I show up, I know the value I'm bringing to the room. So I expect people to listen to me when I speak.
Absolutely. I love that. And as they should. I love that. So, like there's this whole thing where like in society these days, the online culture, the media culture pushes you on like entrepreneurship, which is great. It's always great to, to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. But I think people really forget about the importance and all of like the great values that you learn from like working at corporate. And I feel like you kind of understand both ends of the spectrum. Why do you feel like, especially as like Black woman, it's okay and it's a good thing to, work at a 9 to 5, and like what are the skills you feel like people can pick up compared to just jumping straight into the world of being an entrepreneur?
So again, when you work, with others, you learn how, because in the workforce, you're dealing with so many identities, right? People from all walks of life, but just working in that melting pot, right, gives you that strength and knowledge in how to work with different people with different background, different characteristics. We all come from different households. Absolutely, right? So when we come into that big office space, it's just like, how do I navigate? So it just feels like you're playing chess, right? It's like, okay, I'm talking to you, so I need to be able to connect with you on some level. When I'm done, the next person is not the same as you, right? So just being able to maneuver around and also learning how to work with other people. So collaboration is very, very key. Even as if you decide to venture on your own to do something, you have to be able to work with people, right? So having that opportunity to do that in that big scope in the corporate world and just navigating different issues, different situations gets you prepared if you want to, branch out and have your own thing going on. But just being able to build on that is very key and essential to being successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So since you're always, so busy and doing all this amazing work, I'd love to know, like, what do you do in your spare time and free time?
What I do, I am a homebody.
Okay, I can relate to that.
I just enjoy being around family. Is so big to me. I always tell people I live within a block of almost my whole family.
Yeah, that's such an African thing. I love that. Good to know it's not just like Somali people.
No. I live so close to my parents that my brother is down the road. So we are all like in a 5-mile radius, literally. So I am big on family and just enjoy, like, sometimes like, okay, I need my space, but I love hanging out with my husband, my kids. And if I'm not doing that, just relaxing, sometimes mindless TV, right? You just need to rest and chill, or just grabbing something, reading a book. I'm always online, especially on LinkedIn and stuff, looking at different, surveys, trends in my industry, just getting caught up on, because you have to continue to learn, right? Things evolve and change every day. So if you don't continue to learn and, evolve as, a person, you will be left behind. So I'm always trying to read the new trends and just educate myself to be better at what I do. Yeah.
So speaking of education, what did you study?
Yeah, I did HR is my background. So I have both my undergrad and grad in HR.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
I'm very passionate about it.
So I want to learn a little bit more about like what HR really means. It's such a broad spectrum, but it's so amazing because, we talked about how in the African household, they only tell us doctor, lawyer, engineer, and like that's in nursing. So like, how was that like? And like, how did you select that? How did you know, like, okay, this is my niche. This is something I love to do. And like what it entails. Obviously, like it relates to what you're doing right now for the Vikings, but just overall in general, even beyond the Vikings, HR does so much. So for anyone who's watching or who's considering it, like, tell us, how cool HR is.
Yeah. Sometimes you say HR is like, oh, you just hire and fire people.
Right.
But that is not the case, right? It involves a lot, and it also depends on the company you work at, right? You have some big companies where, it's very linear. So it's either like you're in recruiting or you're in benefits or you're in payroll, and other companies you wear all the hats. So it depends on what your passion is and how involved you want to be in, right? I have had opportunities to do so many facets of HR. I've done the training part of HR. I've done the recruiting part. I've done the employee engagement part. So now I work closely where, the strategy part of it. So now HR is no longer that, customer service department. Is broader than that. Now we help with that strategic plan and we help with those decision making. So if you are that big picture thought process person, that can be an avenue for you. You also have to be engaging with the staff, right? So sometimes in HR, we tend to wear everybody's issue because we know a lot about the employees, what they're going through, and so on and so forth. So HR it keeps growing. It's not what it used to be where, you just did the payroll and you just, hire people and they only brought you in when they have to give bad news, but you are part of the conversation. You are part of the planning on, what the year will look like. So it is very, very broad now. And, and if you're in HR too, you have to be a good communicator, right? You have to know how to communicate with different groups at what, like, you need to know how to package the message for your audience. So that is very critical in our role to know, how or when to use certain types of communication. So that is one critical thing that we do a lot in our role, because how we say something could maybe, change the meaning of, or maybe how people react to certain things. So that is very, again, wanting to be in HR, your communication has to be very, very on point. Because it is essential to what we do. And you have to have empathy and compassion, right? Because when people walk in the door, you don't know what they're facing. So it is our job to sometimes coach managers, right? To, have empathy, probing questions and not just go by the face value of what is happening. So we help managers also peel back, I would say, the onions a little bit and get deeper and not just focus on the face value.
Yeah, I love that. That's so important. So switching topics real quick, and this also kind of is related to like, maybe what you do in your free time, but you travel a lot and you love traveling. And I think it's so important and it's such a necessity to leave and travel the world. So tell us a little bit like what your experience has been like, why you like to travel, and why do you feel like it's important?
So I've only lived in Minnesota, right? So I moved to Minnesota like 98, went to school here, went to grad school here, undergrad. But I love getting away. And that is one way to learn. And you broaden your horizon, right? And I always tell people, you get PTO for a reason. So
Right.
use it, right? You don't have to take this like 1 week or 2 weeks vacation. If I have like a Thursday and Friday and a long weekend, I'm out, right? I
You
just
know
want
how to plan it. And she ain't lying because she's out, y'all. I've been like hitting her up and she's always somewhere new. And I'm like, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but again, you know, you need to step away. You need that mental break, right? Because you will get burnt out. You'll get exhausted if you are not using that PTO. And you don't necessarily have to travel, right? But just step away from the office, step away from your workspace, because that is critical. Because when I come back, so this year, my manager was like, what is everyone's word? And my word was Zen. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
I
going to
love
Zen
that.
out.
Yeah.
You just need your moment, right? So when you are in the building all the time, going through all the all the work and everything, you are not being good to yourself, right? So treat yourself, because you are as good as, you know, you take care of this body.
Yeah.
And if you're go and stressed out, one, it impacts your personal life, your family, and then you bring into the work, you're not bringing your whole self, right? But if you take that, you know, few days away, you come back, you're just a new person. And the people around you also feel, because when I come back, everyone's like,
Yeah. You're glowing. Like
I'm
even right now, I'm
glowing.
like, she's glowing. I know
I-
she just came back from
I
somewhere.
am. Because I feel relaxed. I, you know, just let it go, let loose, take some days off. It's okay. The work will always be there.
Exactly.
Right?
I think
But
it's
just
important
step
to
away.
have that balance of like work-life balance, especially when you're working in the corporate world.
Definitely. It is. I always tell people it is critical that you take time away. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a whole week. Like you take off Thursday, Friday, you tag on the weekends. That's like 4 days.
Yeah, it's a
And
good break.
It's enough time to travel and come back and still feel good.
Yeah, I love. So, like, what's like your favorite place that you travel to?
Ooh. I love Greece. So we did, you know, Santorini, Athens. I love that. I love Italy too, Paris. So it's like when I go.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that.
So I just, and you know, and I think my favorite trip with my kids, we went to DC last summer, and we had a blast.
Yeah,
Right.
I went to DC with my son too. We loved
Yeah,
it.
we loved it, had the blast. So again, it doesn't have to be this extravagant. It can just be in your backyard and still make a moment out of it.
I love it. And then going back, so you're originally, or like your family, your culture, you're from Ghana.
I am.
And you've been back to Ghana?
I go every year.
Okay, good. Can we talk a little bit about that too? Because my goal is hopefully by the end of this year to go to Ghana, because Ghana seems so fun and I know so many amazing individuals from there. But yeah, girl, tell me about Ghana and like what it's like, and also just, you know, how people are starting to recognize Africa and Africans more, like we're leaving an imprint compared to when we were like in high school and middle school. You know what I mean? There was that stereotype, but now it's like Africa's the cool thing, but especially Ghana, like people are out there getting their citizenships.
I know, right? You know, the tickets are so expensive. I can't even go home.
I'm like, you guys stop it.
Yes.
But I love it though. So yeah, what has your experience, you know, been like going back home, and why it's important also to visit your home?
Yeah, it is very, very important to me because my kids, right? I want them to know where I'm from, where my husband is from, and their cousins back home, right? So, and my kids understand the Ghanaian language because we speak it at home.
Yeah.
So that is very important. That is why we make it a point to go every year, and we take them, and they love it, right? They sometimes like, I'm not ready to go back.
Oh, that's
my God,
amazing.
I know, because that is how much, and we're very, very intentional about it, because I am here, but I'm from Ghana. I am Ghanaian.
Yes.
Right? So I will always be a Ghanaian.
Yes.
And then with the NFL's commercial in Ghana, it's like my friends were hitting me up. So I just get excited. I love my country. I love being a Ghanaian.
Yeah.
And I love sharing my culture. Right? So, you know, Ghana Jollof is the best Jollof. Don't come for me.
You might start something, but I actually agree with you. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So now it's settled. It's like Ghana Jollof is the best. No, but I wear my African clothes to work. You know, in the summer I just like rock it at work, and that is my identity. And I'm proud of it, and I'm proud to be a Ghanaian. So I always say that's how I introduce myself. born in Ghana.
Yeah.
I'm a Minnesotan Ghanaian, I guess I'll call myself.
I love it. And is there a large Ghanaian community here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a very large Ghanaian community here.
Okay.
We have, we hold festivals sometimes here. We have parties, we are involved as a micro community here.
Yeah.
So there is a big Ghanaian community.
So where
here.
can we find some Ghanaian jollof rice?
See, we don't have big Ghanaian restaurants, but we have a
We need
lady
to.
called Cynthia who caters.
Okay.
Most of the Ghanaian events. So
Yeah.
that is a right jollof, and I can
Okay.
always hook you up with my mama's jollof.
Okay, yeah, please do. I want that home cooking from the kitchen. So give me
Yes.
your mama's contact information. And if there is festivals, send us your way.
We
So
will.
I think you even mentioned, I think one time, like when you guys do like different catering for the team and stuff like that.
Yes.
And one time you guys catered Ghanaian
I
food.
presented on Ghana, so I had the opportunity to cater Ghanaian food.
Yeah.
So I mean, people loved it. So it was very nice, and that is one thing that about Minnesota Vikings, right? With our DEI space, we are very intentional. So we had opportunities for people to share their where they're from, their background, and bring their food. So again, you don't see that in most places and within most organizations, but we have that there.
Yeah.
So like I said, I am having a blast. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the people I work with, and I look forward to being around as my work family.
Absolutely. And I love that. And I love how like at the facility, like you were telling me, like even all the team players, like everybody eats together with the staff and everyone.
Yeah.
And you guys, do things together and activities together. And I think that's really nice that everyone has that. It's like a family.
It is.
And that's also, I think, another like pro of like working at corporate world, because you have that sense of community
Yes.
within the company.
Yep.
And that's really important.
Definitely. And you also build, even after you leave the company, right, you have a mini network built, and you can always go back and tap into that, right? So it's not like you leave and then that's it. I still have friends from when I worked at 3-4 jobs ago, but we still keep in touch. Sometimes so I have work related questions. I'm like, hey, have you done this before, right?
Yeah.
So you have a mini built-in support system everywhere you go, even after you leave. Those are the people you still reach back out and connect with.
Yeah, I love that. So is there any hope, girl, this year for the Vikings? You think we're going to do better?
We're going all the way. All the way. We got
say
it this
all
year.
the time. I really hope so. I really, truly hope so. No, I love that. But, we always ask everyone, what's one piece of advice that you have for anybody who's watching this? And it could be in terms of what their goals aligned with, or just anything that to encourage someone who's, especially, that's youth.
Yeah. So I just think that, I think sometimes with our African community, and what I've seen is that, we sometimes don't push and go for it, right? And if you are passionate about something, just go for it. Or even if you don't know how to, just go on LinkedIn, look for someone who does what you want to do and reach out. Not everyone is going to respond to you, right? But someone will respond to you and seize on that opportunity, because it is essential. Because if they're taking their time, whether it's 10, 15 minutes to chat with you, come prepared.
Yes.
So that is very important, that, if you reach out and they respond, you are prepared to have those conversations and learn from them, soak in whatever, soak in the moment and just ask all the questions. But it is important to continue to cultivate that relationship, because that, all you need is someone to refer you
Right.
to that next job. And most people are hired through referrals. So it is critical that, when you reach out to someone and you're trying to build that relationship, you do your best to maintain and continue. I'm not saying reach out to them every week, but maybe every month, just like ping them. It's like, hey, I'm still here. This is what I'm doing. So you are top of mind, and they know what you want to do. So over time, they get to know you. And maybe when something comes, like, oh, I had a conversation with Anita, right? And these are some areas that she expressed interest in. And, they could be that person that gets you in the door.
That's amazing. And that's really important. Thank you for sharing that. So where can people kind of like look for these future opportunities? Is it through LinkedIn?
Yeah, when we post on, our career page, so when you go to Vikings.com and then careers, there are opportunities open there. We also highlight those opportunities on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And also some of our jobs goes on to Indeed. So definitely always looking on our LinkedIn page, because we definitely highlight all of our open positions.
Okay, that's exciting. Well, thank you so much, Anita, for coming to Eat and Talk today. And I really, like I said, you really dropped some gems, and it's so important to get different perspectives from different industries. And I'm so happy, once again, like I said, that the Vikings have you.
Thank you.
And you are doing such amazing, impactful work. And I'm really excited to see all the greatness that you bring. And I know we'll always cross each other's paths. So thank you once again. And we always invite people back. So we'll follow up with you soon. And we'd love to hear more about, you know, what you're doing in the Vikings. And hopefully next time we're going to grab some jollof rice.
Hey, next time we're bringing the jollof rice.
Yes.
So, but thank you so much for having me. So like I always say, just let me know when I can stop by again and continue this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye.